compare with my wild Irish rose, my wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows, and someday for my sake she may let me take the bloom from my wild Irish One more.
All right, everybody sing the bass part. And the bass part goes.
My,
Yeah, that's all right.
my friend, my buddy, my pal. Let's do that up
More
there.
bass.
My friend, my buddy, my pal.
One time bass part.
My friend, my buddy, my pal.
Everybody sing the baritone part. My friend, my buddy, my pal, my pal. Baritone part.
My friend, my buddy, my pal, my pal.
Lead part. My friend, my buddy, my pal, my pal,
My friend, my buddy,
stays up there. My
friend, my buddy,
one more time there.
my pal, my pal.
See the 10 part. My friend, my buddy, my pal, my pal, my
Friend, my buddy, my
You notice that everybody has a my pal repeat except the bass part. Okay, that means the bass, when you sing the my pal basses, you got to sing that straight line. All right? Okay, let's do it right along.
Unless we put one in.
Only the basses, please.
Right there.
Right
My
there.
friend, my buddy, my
Stop it, right? All right,
pal.
let's hear the baritones.
My friend, my buddy, my pal.
Let's hit leads in here.
My friend, my buddy, my pal, my pal. My friend, my buddy, my pal.
Now put your arm across the shoulders of the guy you're standing next to. Right here, basses,
This way.
My friend,
That was higher than hell.
my buddy, my
Welcome to the 2011 Seneca Land District Leadership Academy. I'm going to speak just very briefly, and I'm going to turn it over to Shut Your Mouth to me. And then I'm going to turn it over to Peter, your district president, who will introduce Dr. Tom Steiner. And then after they're all done and Dr. Tom's done with his presentation, I'll give you just a few little house cleaning things and what you're going to be looking for when you listen to him. So having said that, I'm going to introduce to you the best thing that has happened to this district in a long, long time. Your district president, Mr. Peter Karentz.
How's everybody doing? Yeah, you ready for a weekend of fun and singing and brotherhood? My friend, my buddy, my pal, even you, even me. Well, I am so glad that everybody took the time and the energy to come here this weekend, because it is this weekend that we begin writing Chapter 8. The next most important chapter in the history of Seneca Land District starts this weekend. You're going to be part of it. Kicking off that experience is a gentleman that I was lucky enough to meet, as were some of your other district officers, down at the forum, the leadership forum for the society in Dallas, Texas, November 5th. The gentleman's name is Dr. Tom Steiner, and smart dude from San Diego, grew up in the 60s. Actually, I think he grew up early in the 60s, but he was a teenager in the 60s. Yeah. And he's kind of looked at our society through a different prism, a different lens. And boy, the stuff he saw was so right on. I'm so glad to have him here with us. I'll give you a little introduction about Dr. Tom. He's been a professional speaker, an trainer. You really do, never. A management consultant teacher for the past 20 years. He's provided presentations and training programs to more than 300 major corporations in the U.S. and Canada. He performs more than 200 engagements annually. Dr. Tom combines his talents in a way that makes learning fun by using humor, magic, and advanced common sense. His highly motivating management training program stimulates participants to consider new ways of behaving in the workplace. Dr. Tom has worked as a director of corporate training, university professor, elementary school principal, stand-up comic, rock and roll guitarist, and part-time U.S. postal employee. You just can't hold a job, can you? Wow. However, he credits most of what he's learned to driving taxi cabs and selling door-to-door in New York City. He knows what makes people tick, and he talks about it. And the other really interesting thing about Dr. Tom is after he spoke to us at the forum, he actually wanted to experience Barbershop, and he hung out and sang in a quartet all night long with us, 2 nights in a row, in these small hours of the morning. So please welcome our new friend, Dr. Tom.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here. I tell you what, every time I've seen, now this is the 3rd time I've seen Barbershop Quartet, and as soon as that pitch pipe goes off, some of you who are otherwise basically dead or in the casket, like prairie dogs, just go, sing it! And all of a sudden, everybody's on fire, everybody's alive, everybody's great. That's what hit me the most, because I walked in Dallas on November the 5th, and Bill Hogan gave me a little bit of a briefing, but I didn't really know what to expect. And I walked in, looked at the room, and saw the average age was nearly deceased. I said, I better change up what I'm going to say. And then I heard that, and then the first thing they did was they sang "Oh Canada," for reasons I had no idea why they were even singing. They sang "Oh Canada," and they sang the Star Spangled Banner, and I was absolutely blown away. I was blown away just by watching people's faces and the passion that they had. And I changed everything that I was going to say back again to something else. And it was a great event. And it was great because I had a chance to meet Pete there. Pete was a front row sitter at that point. I thought he was definitely interested in what I had to say. And Bob and some of the other folks over there were great. So I am delighted to be here today with you. I intend to stir things up, cause commotion. I do not promise you that you will agree with everything I say, but I want you to hear it in the best possible way. I think, they asked me to talk about the idea that there's been declining membership, and I said, I don't really want to talk about that. That's the wrong problem. I want to talk about why this should be one of the preeminent societies in the United States, and it has the opportunities to grow in ways that most of you have never even thought about. So I'm going to put out a lot of different ideas. Again, please just listen with an open mind. You can agree, disagree, that's okay. But my job here is to start a dialogue. Anyway, how many of you have checked into your room so far? Pretty interesting hotel, would you agree? Pretty interesting hotel. I got in and they were sold out, so they had to put me in the honeymoon suite. Yeah, so I'm going to spend the night with a couple from Kansas. Some of you will remember these jokes because these are old jokes. They're around a long time. And I got in, I went to take a shower. I didn't quite understand service the way they should. So I had a little plumbing problem. I called down to the front desk. I said, I got a leak in my sink. They said, go right ahead. So, these are the jokes, folks. So don't get these right away. Write them down. Some of them are time released. Later you will get them. It will be fun. Okay. Anyway, I believe that, and again, I'm going to just kind of make an opening statement here, that although it was the music that brought, I assume it was the, some of you just probably wandered in, but for most of you, I assume it was the music that brought you in here. It's not just the music that will keep you here. It's not just the music that will cause this organization to grow and to flourish. As far as I'm concerned, what I was really struck by, more than the music, and the music definitely struck me, and as Peter said, whatever I thought before I sang with these guys, when I sang with everybody, it blew me away even more, because I guess they've nicknamed me, or they've given me the name. All of you will know what this means. I am an Eileen, apparently. I have to lean on the lead singer and only watch that person and try to tune out what everybody else is singing, because otherwise my voice wants to hit every note out there. But every group that invited me to sing with them, this would blew me away. Every group that invited me to sing with them was open and welcoming and inclusive. And I may not be the best singer, I'm not the worst singer, but I'm not the best singer in the world. But every one of them invited me to share their experience with them. And that really blew me away. I played in a rock and roll band in the 60s. I lived in New York City, and we played at Columbia University, despite the fact that I didn't go to Columbia University. We were the #2 band. We played fraternity house rock and roll. We could play Louie Louie for half an hour. We loved me. That was half our repertoire right there. Do you want to hear Louie Louie again? And they were so drunk it didn't really matter. But what impressed me was that the #1 band on campus at Columbia University at that time went on to become Sha-Na-Na. And I always thought, gee, if we would only have practiced a little bit more. But we didn't. So my band wouldn't let me sing with them because I played lead guitar. They wouldn't let me sing. They said, no, you just play the guitar. That would be about it. So when these guys said to me, not only do we want to hear you talk, but you have to sing. I said, oh boy, you don't have to ask me twice. So I will look forward later tonight to sing with all of you. Anyway, even though it was the music that brought you in here, it is the camaraderie that will keep you here. And the and I call it brotherhood. And again, if there are women, I call it a community, but it's all about brotherhood. And pardon me, but I want to tell you one story about the strongest brotherhood that I ever had a chance to work with. I've been doing what I do for about 25 years. I've worked with hundreds of organizations, public sector, private sector, military, every kind of group you can imagine. And the strongest brotherhood I have ever seen was firefighters. And I had the good or bad fortune of being invited to FDNY in January of 2002. And that date I hope rings a bell with you because it was about 3 months after 9/11, to help them rebuild the leadership team of the Special Ops unit of firefighters in New York City. And again, I don't know what you remember about 9/11. This is the only time I'll be serious. I promise I won't be serious for the rest of the time. But it just goes to, I tell you the story because it talks to me about brotherhood. And I think you guys have such incredible potential to do the same kind of thing if you look at the world just a little bit differently. And that's going to be a theme, I'm sure, for the whole weekend. Are you willing to look at the world a little bit differently? Anyway, on September 11th, I don't know if those of you that are watching television or those of you that saw pictures of it later, there were a lot of people running out of the Twin Towers, but there was only one group, essentially, that was running into the building, into the buildings, and those, of course, were the firefighters. And the firefighters running into the building were running in with 60 to 80 pound packs on their back. And their belief system was that they were going to run up 80 flights of stairs. And they were going to then bring people out. That was what their plan was going into the building. And they made a tactical error that day, very sad to say. Normally when firefighters are doing an operation of that size, they don't set up their command center in the building. They set it up across the street or somewhere nearby where they could be in contact. But for whatever reason, they chose to set up the command center inside the building that day. And within 45 minutes, approximately 118, if I remember correctly, 121, I forget the exact number, but in essence, a quarter of the special ops firefighters, the brave men, and a few women in New York City were dead. And I was invited in January 2002 to talk with them about rebuilding that leadership team. And I spent quite a bit of time living in firehouses. I'm always a boots on the ground kind of guy. You can talk to people, but you don't know who people are until you are with them where they are. That's why I said to learn about you guys. It's not talking to you, it's singing with you. That's the way I learn about you, because that's boots on the ground with you. With the firefighters, it was living in the firehouses. Do we have any people that grew up in New York City here in the room? I know it's not popular to say in Upstate, New York, but I'm sure even the people from Upstate will recognize that people from New York City all have had prenatal assertion training, right? These are not shy people. These are not people that would hesitate for a moment to tell you exactly what they thought. Are you talking to me? I mean, these are people that are very expressive kind of people. And these are men that are, the firefighters essentially are men. And men, and I say this with due respect to all the men in the room, myself included, men are essentially pigs with shoes. I don't know how else to say that. But you have assertive men living together 8, 10, 24 hours at a time with making bodily sounds and just doing all kinds of disgusting things. And for the women, they're going, what's new? The women are surprised when I say this at all. They go, we know this all the time. But living with them, and again, it was my element, my kind of guys. And here's what was amazing to me. I watched guys nearly throttle each other, nearly throw down, ready to fight and whatnot. And then the fire bell would ring. Because the firehouses that I wanted to be in were ones where guys would be called out 30 times in an 8-hour shift. These guys were constantly, they didn't spend much time in the firehouse, they were constantly out in the field, and I went out into the field with them, because again, if I wanted to understand that group, I had to be with them on the engines and in the firehouse and understand who they were and what made them tick. And what was amazing to me, what was the most beautiful thing to me about this experience there, I told you with you guys, it was watching you sing, watching you just perk up and sing, but at the firehouse, guys that were angry at one another, guys that disagreed with one another, guys that were ready to kill each other, as soon as that fire bell opened, they would go to each other and go, are we okay? And they had that ability to connect at any moment in time. I know that there are a lot of different opinions about the future of barbershop. And again, the more I work with you guys, the more aware I am of different sentiments about what should barbershop be, what should it become. Should it just go back to the way that it was in 1938? Should it be an excellence in singing group? Should it be an all-inclusive group that should have, and again, as I look around the room, I can't say I'm surprised, but there are no people of color in the room. There isn't anybody, I'm the youngest dude in the whole room, I think, here, actually, at 62, or close. So there aren't as many, I know there are young people coming tomorrow, but there are all kinds of choices as to what kind of a group barbershop can be. When I watched that the firefighters have their brotherhood, I began to understand where that strength of bond comes from. Anybody have an idea? Anybody here a firefighter, by any chance, or worked as a firefighter during that period? Did you? Did you? So I mean, anybody that's worked as a firefighter knows that this brotherhood is not just in New York. It's among firehouses in every city, in every community. Volunteer pay doesn't matter. Firefighters, police officers have a very strong bond. I've been with a lot of other people with these strong bonds. But what does it take to have that kind of a commitment and relationship with one another where you can disagree, but just because you disagree doesn't mean you don't love the guy next to you, doesn't mean you won't drink a beer with him, doesn't mean you won't sing with him, doesn't mean you won't do whatever. What does it take to do that? This is a question, by the way. Well, it definitely takes trust. Trust is definitely one of the components there. We have to trust in each other. We have to do that. It definitely takes an open mind. I have to be open to ideas, even if they're not my own, even if they're different than what I thought. And I know we have folks in the room that one of the topics I talk about across America today, I've been doing it for 15 years, is learning to love constant change. Learning to love things that are constantly changing. It's very, very difficult for people to do. The older we get, the harder it is. Would you agree with me? You know, if I ask you how many of you, anybody in the room like change? Anybody like change? And not a one in the room. Oh, one lady in the back. Very fine. But, I mean, most of us don't. We say we don't like change. I mean, I tease people and say, even the folks that say they like change are lying. How many of you, from the time you wake up in the morning, wipe drool off your face, have a nice routine that you do exactly the same way to get out of the house every day? And if you drive on the thruway or whatever major road you drive on, you drive exactly the same way to get wherever you're going because you know how to get there, right? Anybody driving fast and use a maniac, anybody driving slow and use an idiot, you are the official speed on the road. You're in a rush, why the hell isn't everybody else in a rush? If you're not in a rush, where are they going? That's the way we look at it, right? So we're really not happy about this idea of change, but yet, if we look at organizations around the country, around the world, that have not been willing to change, what do we notice happening to them? Our most esteemed organization. Did you ever think you'd see a FedEx box at the post office? Did you ever think you'd see that? No. Do you think the post office likes the FedEx box there? No. Apparently, they didn't get the message that email was here to stay. Apparently, that was news to them. By the way, FedEx is going to merge with UPS soon. They're going to be full fed up, so you don't get these right. The point is, our most esteemed organizations in the country, we try to hold on to the past. What is happening to every one of them? I don't care who they're Sears. I mean, I could name. Well, the only organization I was thinking about this today because I knew I was going to talk about this tonight. One of the only organizations that I can honestly tell you has not done a damn thing to change what they're doing and is still doing fine out there is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is still selling basically the same stuff they've been selling all along. They don't change nothing. When they tried to change something, New Coke, it was horrible, it was terrible. But 99% of all the other organizations out there, you know what the motto is? Change or die. And I would hate to see Barbershop go away because we were living, here's what I accused everybody in Dallas. I'm going to say it up here, but please hear me with a kind heart. You guys are boldly marching into the 20th century. There's only one problem.